Well, welcome everyone. We are just trying to figure out how to do this exactly. So this is a little bit of a new experience for us doing this Facebook Live. We do appreciate those who are watching this in a remote location away from here, but we would like to welcome you to our Facebook Live event. We do have some questions already that have been submitted to us, and but we're gonna start this with giving each council member a minute or two to tell us what they think of the budget process or the things that are important to them or that have been noteworthy. And so I guess we can start with that right now. So council members, I guess we don't have to take you in any particular order, so whoever wants to be first.
I'd be happy to lead off if you don't mind.
Let me say first of all that we do have Councilmember White with us electronically, so she's like all of our participants too. So, Councilmember White, would you like to say hello?
Hello, everyone.
It's amazing, this technology. So, who would like to start?
I just offered to lead off if it's okay with you.
Sure.
Just a quick remark about the budget process. This is my third budget, and every year I've become more impressed with the process that takes place. And the way it begins, which I think most people don't recognize, is when we come together as a council, identify what our budget priorities are as a whole, and then we go and we present those priorities to the mayor and his administration. They take our priorities and then they convene through their budget process, and they hold retreats with their administration to identify their priorities, and they try to meld them with ours. So by the time we receive the mayor's administration and his proposed budget, through that coordination and collaboration of priorities as a whole across both sides of government, we receive a pretty good product right from the gate. And so it's nice to see a lot of agreement about what we all believe can move Ogden forward. And that agreement or that ability to work together is reflected in the budget. And so that's just my comment I wanted to share.
All right, thanks, Vice Chair Nadolski. Anyone else?
Can I make some comments?
Yes, Councilman.
So I'm new to this process. This is my first year being on the council and going through the budget process, although I have observed from afar before. I just wanted to say how much I really appreciated the council staff, along with the administration and the department directors, who have been very helpful to me and supportive so that I can understand the process and the budget as it's laid out. And just to make sure that the citizens know that we're here for them if they have any questions or input throughout the process. We actually really mean that, and we would love your insights if you have any.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I think that the opportunity of a budget, I was asked by a scout one time, he says, what is your main responsibility of being a counselor on the city council? And one of them I mentioned to him was developing a budget. And developing a budget by which the city can operate is probably one of our main responsibilities of providing the resources to our citizens and the services that are necessary. It's important for the administration to, after we form a budget, to go ahead and implement that budget. When I first came on the council, the process is very long and cumbersome. And through the efficiency of our staff and the hard work of our staff, they were able to shorten that time, and where I have a better understanding of the budget, and it becomes more efficient. And so the budget is probably the more crucial aspect of our responsibility as city council.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'll go ahead and just second what Councilmember Stevens mentioned about the budget being probably our most important role. It's the only thing that we do that has its own season. We enter the budget season, and it's a lot of late nights, and it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of information that's brought to us. This isn't my first, but I've been at this a little longer, but every year I learn more and more about the process, and every year I think the administration and our council staff do a great job of tweaking that so that we can get the most information that we need so that we can present a well thought out and a very nice budget for our city. That's my favorite thing to talk about when I meet with scouts is what do you think our budget is, or what do you think why do we have a budget? And I don't think they remember a lot, but they do remember what our budget is and how many millions of dollars that it is, and all of the things that we spread that money towards. That is another thing that I'm always amazed at is where we're able to, how far we're able to make that money go in our city. And that is a true testament to the administration and the department directors and their ability to work together and to make our money go as far as it can. And so, again, I'm very proud of the budget that we've presented, and I'm proud of the way that we've presented it to allow citizens to be able to come and have their input, for citizens to be able to have the budget and to see it. And I'm thankful for all the hard work from our staff and from the staff of the administration and the department directors to bring forth this budget. So thanks.
Councilmember Lopez.
Just a small piece to add to what has been said, which I agree with everything my colleagues have mentioned. But basically, just wanted to add that a reminder that a lot of the presentations that we get about the budget happen in the work session meetings, and the work session meetings are open to the public. So it has been very educational for me. This is one of the seasons and the times when I learn the most by seeing what the administration brings and present to us in all the different areas and departments. And so we just reminder to invite anyone that wants to come and learn about the process, that the doors are open as a public meeting during the work session, that people can come and be a part of that process as well, of learning and getting that information that we're getting.
Thank you. My impressions of the budget process, this isn't my first either. I don't have as many as Councilmember Blair or Stevens. However, it is being refined over the years, and thanks to our staff and the administrative staff, how this goes. And I think it's important to note that over the years, it has gotten much better, and the process has been more smoothly implemented and very fairly done. To say that there's a season is a little bit of a misnomer, because as soon as we're done with this one, we're going to start on next year's. It won't be as much our work as it is the administration's, but it's a year-long process. It really goes on forever and never stops. So, but the way that the administration gets together and talks of the priorities that happen, and they come to a consensus, that's something that I very much appreciated. So we don't have to do the wrestling matches here. They've already gotten in and taken the consensus of what's important for the city and implemented their priorities that way. So I very much appreciated that. Councilmember White, would you like to address the public? Do we still have her? Yeah, we can go ahead. We'll let you work on that. We do have some questions that we have already been submitted to us. I'll read the question and.
Hey, I'm here.
There you are. Okay.
Sorry.
Councilmember.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth.
Okay. Would you like to make an opening comment?
Yeah, I think it's important that the citizens know that part of this Facebook Live process is to be very transparent with the budget and the numbers, and it's it's our attempt to make sure that the public knows what we're doing, and just let them know that we care about the numbers, and we look through everything that that the staff gets to give us some information and we get to look through it and make sure that there's the checks and balances. So thank you.
All right, thank you. So we've got Brandon who's going to read our questions for us.
Okay, so this first question has to do with roads and sidewalks and how much money the city is planning to fix those things. So yeah, how much money is the city planning to use to fix roads and sidewalks?
Okay, all right.
I'll take that one.
Sure.
Chair.
Councilmember Stevens, go ahead.
This is an important question to ask because it impacts our citizens and us each and every day. It's something that we deal with, and it's very important to us. In fact, fixing roads and sidewalk repair is necessary for a healthy and safety and an efficient community. For an example, we use the funds that are given to the city. The example that I can best describe is the improvements that are made on Monroe Boulevard from 20th Street to 7th Street. They've just resurfaced that, and it's a great opportunity. There are three funding sources. One is the category of B and C road funds. The other one is active transportation funds. And the third one is Weber Area Council of Government, or WACOG. And the amount that we anticipate receiving from those opportunities or resources is $1.7 million from B and C funds and the other funds that we have. The city has applied for a number of projects to be funded through WACOG, but we won't know that until actually they pass those funds on to us.
Okay, any other council members want to address that question? Okay, Brandon, well, let's have the next one.
All right, the next one. Utility rates are going up. Why?
Okay, Al, if I can step in on that one. This is something that, costs do increase every year for everyone, and the city is no exception. And so as a way to keep up with inflation and make sure that we have a good level of service for all of our citizens, there will be a small rate increase based on the Consumer Price Index. This year it is 3.1%, and it has already gone into effect on July 1st. So there are no other increases planned to be implemented until next July, but that's written into the ordinance that we do a CPI or Consumer Price Index increase each year to keep up with inflation, to make sure that the level of service doesn't degrade.
Maybe I should just stay here. So this, a couple of citizens have expressed concern about this next question regarding the city's golf courses. I believe the question may be simple, but the actual answer may be a little more complex. Do the golf courses make money, or is the city subsidizing them?
Chair?
I know a golfer that might know the answer to that.
We got a hole-in-one at our recent
Yeah.
tournament.
I can go ahead and take that one. So to understand a little better, both of our city golf courses, El Monte and Mount Ogden, operate as enterprise funds. What that basically means is the fees charged for the services up there should pay for their operations. So, for example, the fees that they charge for green fees or through concessions or cart fees, those actually are used to help pay for the operations at the golf course. In the case of our golf courses, the fees collected to pay for the expenses of the city's general fund have not had to subsidize the golf course this year, or have not had to subsidize them, which is a big change from years past, and we can credit that to our golf course manager for both courses is Todd Brinkman, and our public services department. What they've been able to do and the improvements they've been able to make have attracted a lot of new golfers to the courses, and many more tournaments to our city, which have actually helped make both of our courses very successful.
If I might jump in just a little bit on the golf course issue, I am one of those people who has gotten the bug because of Todd and some other influences. And I've got to say, our golf courses are in great shape because of the fine work of our staff and our golf course directors. I would invite anyone in the city who's maybe been a few years since they've golfed. Might be a good time to give it a whirl, because we've got great golf courses and it's fun.
I had one point. I was just at Mount Ogden Golf Course yesterday, and it sounds like through the summer we run some good discounts for parents that want to take their kids golfing. So I encourage you to take advantage of it. I took advantage of it yesterday. It was hot as can be, but I had a good time.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways to golf very affordably with punch passes and season passes, and so encourage citizens to take advantage of that. What's our next question?
Yeah, next question has to do with police and fire. How is the budget going to support Ogden's Finest and the police department and the fire department?
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to answer that one.
Thank you. I try not to hog all of the public safety items, but it's among my favorite topics because public safety is really important and what I believe to be a fundamental service for our community. The current budget provides step salary increases and cost of living adjustments for both police and for fire. And as many of you have probably heard or read in the paper, we are in a very competitive environment for both keeping and attracting the most talented men and women to come wear red and blue in Ogden. And so I think those step salary increases and cost of living adjustments are critical for that. On the police side, an item that's been really important to me personally for the last few years is to make sure that our police officers are as well equipped to keep themselves safe as possible. And so I'm very heartened to see that we include bulletproof vests in our budget this year. We've included them in the past, but we're making sure that they're getting the best they can to make sure that they're as safe as they can be. On the fire side, another item that's a big budget item is the fire station number 4 renovations. This is a big CIP project with a big price tag, but it is our final fire station that needs upgrades. It was first built in 1968, and I've had the pleasure of visiting all of our fire stations, and this one definitely needs attention. So it'll be good to get that one out of the way. And finally, we have a decision before us as to whether we maintain the current tax rate. And if that is approved, those revenues are slated to go toward a loyalty pay bonus program that would reward fire and police. And we believe that is a really important retention and recruitment tool to make sure that those men and women come to our community to keep us safe. I think that rounds out the highlights, Chair Hire.
Okay, thank you. Any other council members want to address that? Okay, let's have the next question. Brandon?
Okay, next question. Fair question. Why is the city continuing to provide employees raises when I haven't been receiving raises from my job?
I'll take that one, Chair Hire.
Yes.
Well, first of all, I wish that everyone were getting appropriately compensated for their work with cost of living raises and merit increases. I'm not really in charge of everybody else, though. And the city has been having some challenges, just as Vice Chair Nagalski was mentioning with the police and fire department, but also all across the city departments and retaining and hiring quality employees. We know that the unemployment rate in Utah right now is about 3.1%, so the job market is very competitive, and so that makes it challenging. We want to make sure we're keeping our great staff members. So we know that not only with the public safety positions, we've had challenges to fill those positions and retain them, but 50% of the other city employees have turned over in the last 5 years. And that's a lot of expertise and experience that we're missing, although we've got great staff members. We want to make sure that we keep the high quality staff that we have.
And just a reminder to those watching on Facebook, if you do have a question about the budget, you can ask through the comments, and we'll do our best to get them answered here by the council members. With that said, we'll move on to our next question.
No, I want to go.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I cut you off. My apologies.
You know, this has been a concern of mine since I've been on the council is making sure that our pay is not too much, but not too little. And with respect to what we are seeing is we have some of the best city administrators that there are around, and they are targets for other communities. And so it's important for us to make sure that we not only keep them happy, but we have an investment in them that we need to maintain. And I think it's important as citizens that we recognize that if we don't keep them, we have to then replace them, and that's expensive. And so it's cheaper to keep them than it is to replace them. And I think that's an important point that needs to be driven through. There you go.
Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, so next question. What has been done to reduce costs and save the city money?
Happy to take on that, Chair Heyer.
Yes, Councilmember Lopez, go ahead.
So some of the things that have happened to address this issue are in a few different areas. In community and economic development, for example. They have worked to secure grants and to expand regional partnerships. For fire, they have worked very hard to help people who are in need of mental health services to get those services locally, to reduce the cost of ambulance transportation. Management Services has worked very hard to reduce energy and fuel efficiency in their fleet. The police department has implemented a preparatory academy to reduce the cost for training police officers. And also Public Services has also worked very hard to acquire grants to apply them towards the expansion of recreational programs.
Okay. Any other comments from other council members on that question? All right.
Hey, Chair Heyer.
Councilmember,
Sorry.
yes, please step in here.
Hey, I just wanted to also add that one of the things that our council staff has done is to actually require different information at budget time from the departments. So we're asking different questions, including those of, what makes your department efficient? What are your challenges? What are your issues? And so I think part of it is the process that we've changed as well on our end to actually help drive some of those changes.
Thank you. I appreciate you stepping in on that, and that was a good point. Thank you so much. Okay, Brandon.
Yeah, so our next question is confusing for sure. The question isn't confusing, but what it's asking about is confusing, as I found going along the budget process. But how much will my property taxes increase if the council approves the 8.82 increase? So maybe talk about,
Yeah, I've made some notes on that one because it's a lot of numbers, and hopefully we can make them clear to the good citizens of Ogden. The property tax bill consists of many different taxes from different entities. If you look at your tax notice, there's Weber County taxes, Ogden School District, mosquito abatement, Weber Area Dispatch, and then there are some other governmental entities that receive property taxes from you. Ogden City's portion of that tax bill is only 18% of the total. So if you keep in mind that it's 18% of the total, so the 8.82%, it isn't on the total amount. It's only on the Ogden City's portion. Some citizens do pay for secondary water with their property tax bill also. So the tax rates from all of those entities and the cost of secondary water affect your total property tax bill. In addition, the value of your home impacts the amount of taxes you pay. Each homeowner will feel the tax increase differently depending on what happens to the value of your home. All we can do is give you an example of how the tax increase will affect the average homeowner in Ogden, and so we'll try and do that now. So if the average home in Ogden increased from $167,000 in 2017 to $196,000 in 2018, and that's an increase of 17%. The increase in value will mean an average or an increase in taxes paid regardless of whether the city approves the tax increase. The average homeowner in Ogden will pay Ogden City an additional $22.30 if no tax increase occurs simply because of the increase in the value of the home, and will pay an additional $49.50 if the tax increase is imposed. And that's a difference of a little over $27 a year or $2.25 a month. So that's what it takes to keep up with inflation. That's what is proposed and no more. I kind of want to stress that we're not trying to catch up. We're just trying to keep even. But you can go to Ogden City's website, on the council portion of the website, and there's an interactive calculator that will help you to calculate the additional tax increases you will pay based on tax rates and whatnot. So we hope people will do that, and we hope they understand that there's value in keeping up with what's going on.
Chair, can I add to your comments?
Yes, please.
Because a lot of people are concerned about taxes, obviously, but
Obviously.
as we all should be, and 7 of us in particular need to be concerned about that right now. But it's important that people know that we're not trying to use taxes to catch up.
Right.
We're trying to use this process to keep up, and inflation is key. We have tremendous expenses and tremendous expectations to provide for services, and it becomes more and more difficult to do that every year if we don't keep up with inflation.
You know, I think another important statistic, and I can't remember the exact statistic it is, but back in the 1980s, Ogden City's portion was 25% or maybe even a little bit more. And so we've tried to hold it back so that we don't continue to increase taxes. And so we haven't even kept up with the other entities that do impose taxes. So that's why we're at 18% instead of 25%.
I make a quick comment? Sure. I just wanted to remind people that Councilmember White and I actually did a little video for our Facebook page for, residents, if you have special circumstances, that there's different agencies you can go to for some alleviation of some of that tax burden.
All right, thank you. So they can go to your Facebook page and find that, right?
Mine or the City Council webpage.
Okay, great. Okay, let's have another question.
We are up against the clock here. Maybe got time for one more question. So keep that in mind here. Talking about redevelopment, how much is the city contributing to redevelopment efforts this year?
Chair Heyer, I've made some notes on this one, if you don't mind.
Sure, please do.
So we have made some commitments, multi-year commitments to the trackline development project out west. Oftentimes folks forget that Ogden includes portions of the west, and that's just not fair. We want to make sure that we're giving attention to that portion of our community that needs it. That development project totals about $350,000. And we're also contributing and looking at the Wonder Bread site redevelopment downtown that would have a tremendous impact in our downtown commercial business district for about $660,000. And there's some other projects, about $175,000, which makes about $1.2 million in total. One important note to make about our development proposals in the budget. Since we just talked about taxes, we deal with that budget differently. Tax revenue is good to put toward ongoing expenses, costs associated with people, for example, or for our fire and police loyalty program. That's where we're looking to target the tax revenue. The monies we use for economic development primarily come from BDO or Business Depot Ogden lease revenues. We're really lucky to have the Business Depot Ogden to give us those infusion of funds that we can then use to invest in economic development, which will infuse more funds into our general fund and hopefully offset the tax burden for folks. So while we do talk about $2.27, I think it was, per month for the average homeowner, we try to keep that down as low as we can. It would be even higher if we were not investing in economic development that we're adding to our base amount of money coming to us through revenues.
Okay, thank you. I guess we are up against the time. We do appreciate all those who have attended. We have really striven to be transparent as possible. There is a continuation of a public hearing on the budget tonight, so if you want to hustle on down, you'll be able to address us in person. And there will be another public hearing on August 7th, which is also when the Truth and Taxation hearing will be, and we invite you to attend that as well. But this will conclude our Facebook Live event, and thank you for those who have participated.